Growing Up on a Farm in Kentucky. Stories by Stan Schmidt. Episode 26. First Bike, Part 2. So is that the first time you rode a bike?
That was the first time, I learned to ride on that bike. And eventually all of us got our bikes. I don't know how the brothers got their bikes, but they managed. And you kind of had to put out some effort to get it. Otherwise you wouldn't get one. So...
Did your dad help you learn how to ride it, or did you teach yourself?
I don't remember anybody ever holding the bike for me. I just remember going downhill. It wasn't a steep hill, just kind of an incline. You didn't really have to remember to pump the pedals because once you got going, it was pretty easy to balance. And after a while, after a few spills, I got the hang of it and I was off. And then we always had bikes. We could ride over to J-Town even faster. But pumping up that hill to J-Town was... First you went down a hill to a creek and then you went up another half a mile. And you had to pump pretty hard to get to the ice cream store. That was... You didn't have to walk everywhere.
And how old were you when you got your bike?
That's a good question. Just old enough to teach myself to learn to ride and reach the pedals.
And that started a long biking career, didn't it?
Oh yeah. And then when after I got out of the Army and I moved to Pennsylvania for a job that I got from an interview at a pharmaceutical company, I had enough money to buy a brand new bike. And I had that over in Ardmore. I was living there and tutoring students at night and then going to karate classes and working all day at the pharmaceutical company. So I was busy, but I had my own bike. And then when I went home for Christmas, I bought a chain and a lock. I took it down into the basement of this big house we lived in with 10 boys that were going to high school, and we were tutoring them, and I chained it to a big post in the basement, and I thought it would be safe there, but all the boys went home, and the house was empty at Christmas, and when I came back, no chain and no bicycle. My bicycle was gone, and this girl who lived next door came over and said, "Would you like to go bike riding?" And she introduced herself. Her name was Elaine White. And this was after I'd gotten out of the Army and I'd gotten this job with the pharmaceutical company. And I said, "Somebody just stole my bike," and she didn't know whether to believe me or not. But she got me to go running with her, and that's how we got together.
And that's Mom.
And that's now we have 4 kids, all doing great, all wonderful. Life has been such a trip. And that's the story of my bicycle from the dump.
What happened when you, do you remember what happened to your first bike?
I think after we all left home for jobs and school and stuff, our farm was full of discarded pieces of metal from farm equipment, and my mother used to complain about it, and so she got the big idea that we boys should pick it all up and pile it in piles and then take it downtown where they bought scrap metal and we could make a little money. So eventually the bikes and all the old worn out farm equipment that nobody used for 10, 15 years got loaded onto the pickup truck and taken to the scrap metal place. And we picked up all the bones laying around on the farm too, and you could sell those. They made fertilizer out of them. So we sold anything we could to make a little bit of money on the farm. That's probably what happened to the bike too.